You sleep your 8 hours, you try to eat well, you cut back on caffeine, you do the things they say you should, and yet you still wake up tired. Not the kind of tired that goes away with a stretch and a cup of tea, the kind that sits in your bones, heavy, familiar, lingering. You open your eyes and already feel behind. Your body aches a little. Your mind feels slow. You move through the morning like your energy's been borrowed and no one gave it back. And maybe you've said it aloud, or maybe you've just thought it quietly. Is this just what getting older feels like now? If that sounds like you, let me say something clearly. You're not lazy. You're not doing anything wrong. And you are most certainly not alone. I talk to so many women in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, who are asking the same question: why am I always tired? And too often, the answer they get is a shrug, or worse, a sentence that starts with, well, at your age. But here's the truth: no one's saying loud enough. Feeling tired all the time isn't just a normal part of aging. It's a sign that your body is trying to tell you something important, something you deserve to hear. Because there are real reasons why your energy has faded, reasons that are often overlooked, misread, or dismissed. Hormone levels that have quietly dropped lower than anyone warned you about. Nutrient levels that no one ever thought to test. Sleep that looks fine on the clock, but doesn't actually restore you. Emotional weight you've been carrying for so long, you stopped noticing how heavy it really is. And yes, sometimes even the very medications meant to help you might be silently making you feel worse. This video isn't about magic fixes or overnight solutions. It's not about making you feel like you're doing everything wrong. It's about helping you connect the dots. Gently, clearly, honestly. I'll walk you through 6 of the most common, most overlooked causes of fatigue in older women, and more importantly, what you can do to start getting your energy back. Not the energy you had at 30, the energy that lets you wake up and feel like yourself again. So if you've been feeling tired day after day, and no one's really given you a satisfying answer, stay with me. This may be the moment where it all starts to make sense. Reason number 1: hormonal crash, years after menopause. Menopause came and went. The hot flashes eased. The night sweats faded. The mood swings quieted down. Everyone said, "You've made it through the hard part." And for a while, you believed them. You waited for things to go back to normal, for your body to settle, for your energy to return. But it never really did it? What no one told you, or told you clearly, is that hormone changes don't end when menopause ends. In fact, for many women, the real crash doesn't happen during menopause. It happens after, years after. Estrogen and progesterone, the hormones that shape so much of your life, don't just dip and stabilize. They keep falling quietly, steadily, until in many cases they're almost non existent. And that matters more than anyone warns you, because those hormones were never just about your monthly cycle. They were part of your fuel, the background system that supported everything from how clearly you thought, to how deeply you slept, to how your body turned food into energy. Estrogen kept your brain sharp, supported your memory, and even helped regulate blood sugar and metabolism. Progesterone calmed your nervous system, soothed your mood, helped you fall asleep and stay asleep. So when those hormone levels plummet, the effects ripple through your whole system. Suddenly, walking up the stairs feels harder. Reading a book leaves you foggy. Carrying groceries makes your muscles ache in a way they never used to. And the hardest part, you start to doubt yourself. You wonder if this is just aging, or worse, if it's weakness. But it's not. It's your biology shifting and trying to cope with less of the fuel it used to rely on. What's frustrating is how little this is talked about. How many doctors brush it off? How many women are left wondering why they feel like a stranger in their own body, with no one offering a deeper explanation. You are not imagining it. You're not broken, and you're certainly not alone. There are ways to support your body through this crash. For some women, that looks like bioidentical hormone therapy, a treatment that mimics the hormones your body naturally produced in forms it can recognize and use. For others, it might mean targeted support for the adrenal glands, which are often overworked and undernourished after years of chronic stress. And for many, simple but consistent lifestyle shifts like gentle strength training, better sleep hygiene, and anti inflammatory foods can ease the load your body is carrying. But it starts with awareness, with asking questions, with bringing this conversation into the light where it belongs. So if your energy has quietly slipped away in the years after menopause, if you've chalked it up to aging, but deep down it doesn't feel quite right, ask your doctor about testing your hormone levels. And not just estrogen and progesterone, but also cortisol and DHEA, the hormones tied to your body's stress and energy response. Knowledge won't fix everything overnight, but it will give you clarity. And from clarity comes direction. From direction comes momentum. And from momentum comes the possibility of feeling like you again. This isn't about turning back time. It's about giving your body what it needs in this chapter and honoring it enough to say, I deserve to feel well. I deserve energy. I deserve ease. And I'm allowed to ask for help finding it. Reason number 2, nutrient deficiencies you can't see. You eat well, you cook from scratch, you take your vitamins faithfully, maybe even a multivitamin labeled for women over 50. And yet, you still feel off. The energy you once had, that natural lift in the morning, that clarity in the afternoon, seems to be missing. You're not sick, you're not skipping meals, but something still feels flat. If that sounds familiar, you're not imagining it. And it's not about willpower, it's about absorption. As we age, our bodies change in ways that aren't always visible. And one of the biggest changes happens quietly in the digestive system. After 60, your stomach produces less acid. That may not sound important, but that acid is what breaks down food into absorbable nutrients. Without it, even the healthiest meals can pass through your body without giving you the support you need. So you could be eating all the right things, leafy greens, lean proteins, whole grains, and still be slowly running on empty. And the signs aren't always obvious. You might not feel sick, but you might feel foggy, or short of breath, or too tired to finish a sentence you started. These aren't random symptoms. They're often the body's quiet way of saying, I'm missing something. Let's talk about the 4 most common deficiencies in women over 60, ones that rarely get checked unless you specifically ask. First, vitamin B12. This powerful vitamin fuels your nervous system and helps your brain stay sharp. But it's also one of the hardest to absorb with age. Low B12 can mimic depression, memory loss, even early dementia. It can make you feel confused, slow, or like your mental energy is flickering on and off. And the fix? Sometimes as simple as a sublingual B12 lozenge or an injection, but only if you know it's missing. Second, iron. You might think iron isn't an issue now that you're postmenopausal, but iron loss doesn't stop with menstruation. Inflammation, medications, and even minor gut issues can lead to slow, silent depletion. When iron is low, your blood can't carry oxygen efficiently. That means you tire quickly, feel lightheaded, or get winded doing basic things, like walking across the room. Third, vitamin D. It's the sunshine vitamin, but after 60, even a walk outside might not be enough. Your skin simply doesn't produce it as efficiently. And while most people think of vitamin D for bone health, it also plays a crucial role in mood and energy. Low levels can leave you feeling achy, low, or emotionally flat. even when everything else in life seems fine. And finally, magnesium. This humble mineral supports your muscles, your sleep, your digestion, your mood, and it gets drained quickly by stress. If you feel wired but tired, struggle with sleep, or just never feel fully rested, magnesium may be the missing link. And yet, it's rarely tested. The frustrating truth? Most standard blood work doesn't include these. A basic CBC won't catch a borderline B12. A routine checkup won't flag a slow magnesium deficiency. You have to ask, and you have every right to. Ask your doctor for a full nutrient panel. Be specific. You're not being difficult. You're being your own advocate. And once you know where the gaps are, you can begin to fill them. Not with guesswork, but with intention. Maybe it's a sublingual B12. Maybe it's gentle iron, taken with vitamin C for better absorption. Maybe it's magnesium glycinate before bed, helping your muscles finally relax and your mind slow down. These aren't drastic changes, but they can shift your energy in profound ways. Because sometimes the reason you're so tired isn't because you're doing too little. It's because your body isn't getting enough, even when you're doing everything right. And when you begin to restore what's quietly missing, you just might rediscover how good your body can feel, even now. Reason number 3, poor sleep quality, not just sleep time. You went to bed at a reasonable hour. You stayed there for a full 8 hours. And yet, when the alarm went off or the sunlight peeked through the window, you didn't feel refreshed. You didn't feel rested. In fact, you may have felt just as tired or more than the night before. You ask yourself, how is that possible? I slept, didn't I? But there's a difference between being in bed and actually sleeping. And there's an even bigger difference between sleeping and getting restorative sleep. As we age, our relationship with sleep changes in subtle but important ways. One of the biggest shifts is in melatonin, the hormone that tells the body it's time to rest. Our natural production of melatonin begins to decline in our 50s and continues to drop with each passing decade. That means your body's internal clock, the one that used to wind down gently in the evenings and bring you into restful slumber, now ticks more irregularly, more lightly. At the same time, we spend less time in deep sleep. That's the phase where your muscles repair, your brain clears out toxins, and your nervous system resets. It's the part of the night where healing happens, physically and emotionally, but now that window is shorter and more fragile. So even if you're in bed for 8 hours, if you're tossing and turning, waking up to use the bathroom, listening to the clock tick, or just lying awake thinking about your health, your family, or the things left unsaid, your body isn't restoring. It's simply waiting. And here's something no one tells you enough. Light sleep still counts, but it doesn't do the deep work. It doesn't calm your inflammation. It doesn't ease anxiety. It doesn't give you back the energy you spent the day before. That's why so many women say, I'm sleeping, but I'm still exhausted. Let me ask you something. Do you find yourself waking up around 2 or 3 in the morning and just lying there alert and restless? Do your thoughts race, your heart feel a little unsettled, your body tense like it never truly let go? That's not just age, that's fragmented sleep. And over time, it takes a toll. But there are things you can do, gentle, manageable things that can make a real difference. Start with your sleep environment. Make your room cool and dark. Think 65 degrees Fahrenheit and blackout curtains if possible. Our bodies naturally sleep deeper in cooler temperatures. Turn off screens, not just the TV, but your phone, your tablet, at least an hour before bed. Blue light tells your brain to stay alert. Give it a chance to slow down. Consider adding magnesium glycinate in the evening. It supports muscle relaxation and nervous system balance. Some women also benefit from low dose melatonin, but only under guidance. And above all, create a routine, even a simple one: a warm bath, soft music, a cup of herbal tea. When your body knows what to expect, it begins to cooperate. And please, if you snore heavily, wake up gasping, or feel like no amount of sleep makes you feel better, ask your doctor about sleep apnea. It's not just a man's condition. Many women, especially postmenopausal, develop it without even knowing. And untreated sleep apnea doesn't just cause fatigue. It affects heart health, memory, and long-term vitality. Your body deserves real rest, not just hours in bed, but sleep that heals, sleep that restores, sleep that lets you wake up feeling like you again. You are not asking for too much. You are asking for what every person deserves. Mom, the right to feel rested, present, and strong in their own life. Let this be the night you stop settling for sleep that just passes time. You're worthy of more than that. Reason number 4, emotional exhaustion from a lifetime of carrying others. Your body is tired, but is it your heart that's heavier? Sometimes the fatigue you feel isn't just in your legs or your back or your eyelids. It's in your chest, in the space behind your ribs, in the deep exhale that escapes before the day has even started. And maybe no one sees it. Maybe you don't always talk about it, but it's there, quietly, constantly, and it's wearing you down more than you realize. Because for many women over 60, the exhaustion isn't just physical, it's emotional. And it didn't start yesterday. You've spent a lifetime carrying others, children, spouses, parents, friends. You've been the one people leaned on, the one who made sure everyone had what they needed. You kept the schedules, cooked the meals, paid the bills, handled the crises. You were the fixer, the peacemaker, the strong one. And even now, with the house quieter and the calendar supposedly lighter, the weight hasn't lifted. It's changed shape. Now, maybe it's worry about your health or your partner's. Maybe it's the grief of losing someone you loved deeply. Maybe it's watching your adult children struggle and feeling helpless to step in. Maybe it's caring for a spouse who's fading before your eyes. Or maybe it's just that strange emptiness of days that used to be full, now echoing back with silence. You see, emotional fatigue is real, and your nervous system doesn't know the difference between an emergency and a slow, constant drain. That low-level stress, the kind that sits quietly in the background for years, triggers the same hormones as a crisis. Cortisol, adrenaline. They were meant to protect you in short bursts. But when they stay elevated for too long, they do the opposite. They wear you down. They leave you anxious, irritable, foggy, and yes, deeply tired. And then comes the guilt. You tell yourself, I have so much to be grateful for, or other people have it harder, or I should be stronger. But tired isn't weakness. Tired is a signal. It's your body's way of whispering, please check on me. So what can you do when the tiredness isn't just in your muscles, but in your spirit? Start by giving yourself permission to rest, emotionally. Not just naps or vacations, but true pause. Time without pressure, silence without guilt. A walk where you don't think about anyone else's needs. A journal entry where you're honest about what you've lost and what you still long for. Say no, even if you've always been the yes person. Create space that's yours, even if it's 10 minutes with a cup of tea and no phone in your hand. Even if it's just one evening where you don't explain your boundaries, you just hold them. Talk to someone who can hold space for your story. A therapist, a support group, a friend who listens without trying to fix. You've carried others for so long. It's okay to let someone carry you, even just for a little while, because healing begins when you stop ignoring the heaviness, when you name it, when you honor it, when you say, yes, I've been strong for a long time, but I'm allowed to feel tired and I'm allowed to rest. You've earned your peace. You've earned your softness. You don't have to prove your strength every day. Some days, the strongest thing you can do is simply place your own name back on the list of people who deserve your care. Reason number 5, blood sugar swings that sap your energy. You eat, you crash, you crave, then you eat again, and the roller coaster begins all over. Maybe it starts with a slice of toast in the morning or a bowl of cereal that used to be your go-to. Maybe it's the muffin you grab with your coffee or the banana you eat because it feels light and healthy. And for a little while you feel fine, maybe even good. But then, like clockwork, it hits. The wave of tiredness that rolls in mid-morning or right after lunch. Your eyes grow heavy, your thoughts blur, and suddenly the energy you were counting on has disappeared. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And it's not just being older. It's not about doing something wrong. It's about a quiet shift inside your body, one that no one warned you about. After menopause, your insulin response changes. The way your body processes sugar, even natural sugar, begins to shift. The same foods that once gave you steady energy now cause small but powerful blood sugar spikes. And with every spike comes a crash. You may not feel the dizziness or the jitters that someone with diabetes might experience. Instead, it shows up differently. A sudden slump in energy, brain fog that makes it hard to finish a sentence, that strange heaviness in your arms and legs, or an overwhelming desire to nap right after a meal. The roller coaster effect can make you feel like you're losing control of your energy and of your day. You might think, but I'm eating healthy. And you probably are, but healthy doesn't always mean balanced. A bowl of fruit and a slice of toast may sound light and nutritious, but to your body it can act like sugar on sugar. So what can you do to smooth out the ride? Start your day with protein and fiber, not sugar. That might mean eggs instead of cereal. Greek yogurt with chia seeds instead of a bagel. Or even a small protein smoothie with almond butter and a handful of spinach. Protein slows down how fast your blood sugar rises. It keeps you fuller, longer. It helps your brain stay focused. And it sets a steady foundation for the hours ahead. Next, pair your carbs with healthy fats. If you're going to have an apple, enjoy it with almond butter. If you're reaching for crackers, add a few slices of cheese. The fat helps slow absorption. It tells your body, we're going to handle this gently, and your body listens. Also, avoid going too long without food. Skipping meals might have worked when you were younger, but now it can cause more harm than good. When your blood sugar dips too low, your body panics. It craves sugar. It releases stress hormones, and it steals your energy before you even realize what's happening. And finally, start reading your labels, even the ones on foods you trust. Many healthy snacks or yogurts or smoothies hide added sugars in small print. The more you can recognize where those hidden sweeteners live, the more power you have to choose differently. This isn't about cutting out every carb or never enjoying a treat again. It's about learning your body's new rhythm and feeding it with kindness and awareness, because you deserve steady energy. You deserve clarity and presence, not waves of exhaustion that steal your afternoons. And once you learn how to fuel yourself differently, that roller coaster starts to flatten. Your day starts to feel smoother. Your body starts to feel more like home again. You're not losing energy because of age. You're losing it because your body has changed and no one taught you the new language it speaks. But you can learn, you can adapt, and you can thrive with what works now. Reason number 6, medications that quietly drain you. You take your meds like you're supposed to. You follow instructions. You trust your doctor. You line up your little bottles every morning, the ones for blood pressure, cholesterol, sleep, maybe even for your mood, and you keep hoping they're helping. But what if we quietly, slowly, some of them are doing the opposite? Fatigue isn't always about age, sleep, or stress. Sometimes it comes straight from the very pills we're told are keeping us safe. And most women are never told that's even a possibility. Beta blockers. Commonly prescribed for blood pressure or heart rhythm, they work by slowing your heart rate. But that same slowing can leave you feeling sluggish, foggy, or drained, especially if the dose is too high for your current needs. Statins. Used to lower cholesterol, they've helped countless people avoid heart issues. But in some, they can trigger muscle aches, stiffness, and deep fatigue that feels like walking through molasses. If you've started feeling sore, weak, or heavy without explanation, don't ignore it. Antidepressants. They can be life-changing and sometimes life-saving, but certain types may flatten not just your lows, but also your energy. If your emotions feel muted and your motivation is always just out of reach, it's worth asking whether your medication could be part of the picture. Even sleep medications can be sneaky. They may help you drift off, but leave behind a morning fog like you're waking up underwater. You might technically sleep, but still feel unsteady, slow, or off balance. And that's not counting over-the-counter allergy meds, painkillers, or even common antacids, which can affect nutrient absorption and create ripple effects you never saw coming. Here's the key: never stop a medication on your own. But do bring all of them, prescription and otherwise, to your next doctor's visit. Hand your provider a list and ask, could any of these be making me tired? You'd be surprised how often the answer is yes. Sometimes there are better options. Sometimes a smaller dose is all it takes, and sometimes just being heard is the first step toward feeling better. You've worked hard for your health. You deserve energy that supports the life you're trying to live, not one that drags behind it like a quiet weight. Your body deserves a team that asks, adjusts, and honors how you really feel. The energy you deserve is still within reach. You're not broken, you're not weak, you're not making this up, you're just missing the answers. And now, maybe you've started to find a few. Because feeling tired all the time is not just about age, it's about information, or the lack of it. And today you've uncovered 6 of the most common, most overlooked reasons why your energy might be missing. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because no one ever explained how your hormones crash quietly after menopause, how nutrient levels change even when you eat right, how poor sleep isn't always about the clock, and how chronic stress builds silently behind a strong smile, how blood sugar swings, even from healthy foods, can leave you foggy, and how medications meant to help might be leaving you more tired than before. But this isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new one where you ask new questions, where you advocate for yourself, where you treat your fatigue not as a failure, but as feedback from a body that wants to feel better, from a mind that wants to come back online, from a spirit that's ready to rise. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but it happens gently, quietly, steadily, through small changes, through honest conversations, through support that meets you exactly where you are. So let me ask you, which part of this video resonated with you the most? Was it the hormone crash? The sleep? The emotional weight you didn't know you were still carrying? Leave me a comment. I read everyone. Tap, like if you're ready to stop brushing off your tiredness, and start listening to it. Subscribe if you want weekly videos made just for you, for women over 60 who want to feel clearer, stronger, more at home in their own skin. Because your energy doesn't have to be a memory. It can be a return, and you are worthy of that return, not someday. Now.